senior night as the Hurricanes win a battle down the stretch, 48-46.
Hi, I'm Carrie Kramer. I swim 50 breast, 50 free, and 100 back.
Whatever your sports broadcast needs, we are at sportsbroadcastsolutions.com. Check us out and become part of the digital sporting world.
Irving, one-on-one with Washington. Kyrie, saucy!
Uncle Drew can do a lot of things in his old age. Dribble around opponents, take it to the hole and dunk, and emphasize how this game has always been about buckets.
I get buckets.
But the one thing he doesn't have? The vaccine. Uncle Drew, a.k.a. Kyrie Irving, still hasn't been vaccinated for the COVID-19 virus. Because of this, Kyrie can't participate in any regular season games in the state of New York. Can you imagine what Nets general manager Sean Marks is thinking right now? He has one of the best, if not the best, point guards in the NBA at creating his own shot. Now, this is a free country, and Irving has every right to not get the vaccine. But on the surface, it seems like a very selfish move, especially for a Nets team who could be unstoppable whenever Irving, James Harden, and Kevin Durant are the trifecta on the court. So now Marks has to consider the best alternative for the Nets. Should they keep Irving and deal with the constant media circus that comes with having Kyrie on the roster? Or should Brooklyn trade Kyrie, even if that means trading him for 75 cents on the dollar? And with Omicron rearing its ugly head at NBA players and creating COVID-19 health protocols, the virus is clearly very contagious. Just look at the Nets, for example. As recently as Christmas Day, the Nets had 10 players in COVID-19 health protocols, which includes Irving, Durant, and LaMarcus Aldridge. Aldridge sometimes starts in the front court for the Nets. So Brooklyn was essentially missing 3 starters on December 25th due to Omicron. Omicron is clearly very contagious, and with Irving not having a single Pfizer or Moderna shot, there's a good chance that Irving could spread the virus back to his teammates. And since Irving can't even play in some of these games, even if he's not in the coronavirus contact tracing protocol, he's basically more of a liability than an asset. The issue is no team wants to deal with this constant Irving COVID circus, including the Nets. Irving is a borderline Hall of Famer once he retires, but his crazy big contract, as well as his off-the-court problems, can force teams to avoid trading for this potential locker room cancer. Even before COVID, Irving was a terrible leader once he got traded to the Boston Celtics. And since joining the Nets, Irving has been anything but a saint. Since becoming a resident of New York City, Irving has missed games voluntarily due to several reasons. One of them was for Black Lives Matter and rejecting the 2020 NBA bubble. Before the vaccine became available to people below the age of 50, he was still refusing to wear a mask at public gatherings. Irving clearly doesn't understand the seriousness of COVID. Everybody has their opinions on the vaccine, but he was against wearing masks even before the vaccine was allowed for public injection. Still, he's under contract, and as long as he doesn't retire or commit any illegal acts, it's going to be hard for the Nets to sue for breach of contract. If the Nets determine they're in salary cap hell, which they are, and think that they would be a better team without Kyrie, it might be time to trade this former all-star point guard versus keeping him. Are there any takers for Kyrie? Possibly, but there hasn't been any serious trade talks. Another issue for the Nets is Kyrie loves playing in the Big Apple. I don't really blame him, and according to Nick Wright from Fox Sports 1, he would rather retire than play for another team. No team would trade for Kyrie if he immediately retires. However, mindsets can change, and with the Bulls and Bucks playing some very good basketball as of late, there are no guarantees the Nets even make it to the NBA Finals. Durant and Harden aren't getting any younger, so Irving has to be a little open-minded to the idea of a trade. He would also get to be the number 2 scoring option again, a role he thrived at during his glory years with the Cleveland Cavaliers. The most recent trade rumor was the Dallas Mavericks, but according to Mark Stein, Mavericks owner Mark Cuban adamantly denies pursuing the Nets starting point guard. And for good reason. Luka Doncic loves playing point guard, and Kyrie is probably too small to play shooting guard. The Mavs would have to have 2 ball-dominant guards in their backcourt. And as we saw in Houston with James Harden and Russell Westbrook, that strategy is usually doomed to fail. Even when Chris Paul was in Houston, that marriage with the beard became a divorce in less than 5 seasons. What's really interesting is, as recently as a couple of months ago, Philadelphia was rumored to be a good fit to trade for Irving. However, the Nets don't want to trade him within the division because the whole point is to get to the NBA Finals. The 76ers are, of course, in the Eastern Conference and could be a major roadblock to their path to a championship. Also, teams don't go like trading away marquee players in the same conference, much less the same division. Ergo, the Nets don't want to play against Irving in an Eastern Conference playoffs. However, the anonymous NBA executive said Philadelphia would make sense if the Nets see any value in Ben Simmons. My take would be to avoid Simmons with a 10-foot pole, especially if the trade involves Irving. Kyrie Irving has his off-the-court issues and major personality question marks, but he's still a player who can average 50, 40, 90 shooting percentage numbers. A 50, 40, 90 season means you shoot at least 50% from two-point land, 40% from behind the arc, and 90% from the free throw line. Simmons is so bad offensively that he shies away from open dunks. I hate to use the word yips, but something clearly wasn't right for him during last year's playoffs. He hasn't played a single game this season due to his unwavering stance on not wanting to play another possession with the 76ers. As such, his trade value is at an all-time low. Also, the Nets have Patty Mills as their current starting guard, and Mills is a former NBA champion with the San Antonio Spurs. Legendary Spurs head coach Greg Popovich is a big fan of his former point guard, so there's no doubt he can run the Nets offense whenever Kyrie can't play due to COVID protocol or injury. Simmons just isn't a necessary key to success for the Nets. In fact, whenever Aldridge plays or starts with the Nets, they have 3 players on the court with a player efficiency rating of 20 or better. Aldridge has a better PER this season than Harden. That's important because it shows the Nets they don't necessarily need Irving, Simmons, or any other flashy point guard when Harden, Durant, and Aldridge are all healthy. They just need a competent guy who can run the one position with grace and professionalism. Patty Mills fills that role just fine. However, the Nets might need some extra firepower in the playoffs, and it would be nice to see if their former investment in Kyrie can lead to an NBA championship. Is there really a point in trading the former number 1 overall draft pick if you get nothing of value back for him? A Simmons for Irving trade would basically just be about starting over and getting a player who can pass better and comes with less baggage. Unfortunately, Simmons comes with his fair share of baggage, and he can't even shoot mid-range jumpers or free throws. Dallas would make a lot more sense for the Nets than Philadelphia. Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic could coexist in the backcourt. Do the Nets even want Kristaps Porzingis since they already have Aldridge and Blake Griffin? It's hard to say. The good news for Brooklyn is he has a player option going into next season. This just means if things go sour in Brooklyn and he doesn't like head coach Steve Nash or his role in the offense, he could reject $36 million and sign elsewhere for the 2022-2023 season. Would he really deny $36 million when his goal was to play with Durant? Things can certainly change for Irving's overall happiness if the Nets get eliminated in the Eastern Conference Finals. There just aren't a lot of legitimate contenders who need Irving's services, are willing to take on his contract, and can handle his lackluster defense. We've already mentioned Dallas before. The other 2 franchises who come to mind make sense, but it's hard to say if Irving would enjoy playing in a mid-major market. The Utah Jazz were so close last season to competing for a championship. One of the main reasons they fell short against the LA Clippers was a lack of explosiveness on the offensive end. Irving would solve that almost immediately since he's great at creating his own shot and driving to the rim. Once again, though, would he be happy playing in Utah? The Jazz also had some defensive struggles during last season's playoffs, something that Irving wouldn't fix. If the Jazz want to go all in and compete with Phoenix Suns and Golden State Warriors in the Western Conference, Irving would give them a much better chance in doing so than with Mike Conley manning the point. Conley is a solid leader and point guard, but when push came to shove, the Jazz could not consistently compete against Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and the Clippers. The Jazz would make the most sense for a trade. If Irving would only be happy in a major market, the Clippers come to mind as Irving would definitely be a better option at point guard than Reggie Jackson. However, the Clips don't have as many trade pieces as the Jazz do. The Nuggets are a very interesting trade destination if Kyrie would love to play with the reigning MVP. According to Nuggets head coach Michael Malone, Jamal Murray won't be back by February. However, the Nets don't really care too much about the regular season. As long as Murray can be healthy and available for the playoffs, they could get a younger player who can be just as explosive as Kyrie with less off-the-court baggage, assuming Murray can rehab from an ACL injury in flying colors. The Nuggets might be willing to consider moving on from Jamal Murray if Kyrie passes a physical and his knees are determined to be in great shape. The Nuggets don't want to waste Nikola Jokic's prime, and the Denver Post acknowledges that Denver wants an upgrade at the wing anyway. The Nuggets need to win games now due to their mediocre record, and there's no guarantee that Murray will be the same player coming off his ACL injury and subsequent rehabilitation. Brooklyn knows this, but they could also use a fresh start from the Uncle Drew anti-vaccine drama. The Nets have enough offense with Harden and Durant. They might just need to move on from Irving to create a more stable locker room. Regardless, it's going to be hard for the Nets to move him. Besides his huge contract, some of his former assistant coaches admit that Kyrie Irving is a wild card. On bad days, Irving wouldn't talk to anyone and go off script in some of the normal defensive schemes and the offensive play calls. In essence, the coaching staff don't know which version of Irving will enter the gym. Some coaches would avoid a wild card persona like Irving. Other teams might be desperate enough to take on Irving's contract, especially if his agents tell him he would be interested in opting out and testing the free agent market. Trading for Kyrie could be advantageous if you're close to winning a championship, but your current roster isn't enough to do so. The Nets would prefer to trade to a Western Conference team, so teams like Utah, Denver, and Los Angeles at least make some sense. And if you only have Irving for one season, his no vaccination status would only be a slight distraction for that one season. But what do you think? Should the Nets try to aggressively trade Irving or see if they can win a championship this summer? Make sure to comment your thoughts below and subscribe to Sports Broadcast Solutions. Sports Broadcast Solutions is a broadcasting network for everyone. For those of you that just want raw footage of your sporting event, but no play-by-play or color commentary, you just need us to live stream video from the event over the internet. We will live stream your event on YouTube on our Sports Broadcast Solutions channel. In addition, we also have a dedicated channel on YouTube for live streaming at SBS Livestream. And if you need multiple channels, we can utilize Facebook Livestream and Instagram Live on our channel as well. Options include commercials from your sponsors, professional scoreboard graphics are still available, and of course, yes, pre- and post-game interviews are available as an option if you want.
We've been working really hard this whole summer and stuff.
Whatever your sports broadcast needs, we are at sportsbroadcastsolutions.com. Check us out and become part of the digital sporting world.
Well, first and foremost, I would describe the typical Northside student as teenagers. Whether they're at Northside or any other place, teenagers are teenagers. Northside students specifically, I would say that you have everything from your students who are really into athletics to students who are quirky and into dance or into special clubs. So there's a wide variety of interests Again, going back to that diversity, there are so many different types of students, but I think one of the great things about Northside students is you'll see that mix, that kind of cross-collaboration of interests, whether it's academics, so your math student might also be the dance student who speaks 2 different languages or 3 different languages. So there's this wonderful, wonderful range with our students. I think I would be remiss if I didn't point out that our students are incredibly kind and supportive to each other. So we see that on a daily basis, even in the way that they've been supporting each other the last 7 months and the way that they're continuing to support each other right now. I would describe the Northside teachers and staff as super dedicated. They are experts in their fields. They're experts who are dedicated to learning and growing with teenagers. Not only that, they're dedicated to continuing to learn and grow in their practice. So our faculty and staff are incredibly supportive of our students. They're incredibly supportive of each other. And I feel like I am lucky to be able to work with such a dedicated faculty and staff on a regular basis. Last year, we didn't get a chance to celebrate our 20th anniversary, but this school has been in existence for 20 years. And I was lucky enough to be a faculty member when the school opened in 1999 and then come back as the principal of Northside. And the way in which the school has stayed true to the founding principles, and we've learned and we have grown with our students and how our student population has changed over the years. I'm very, very proud of that, and I know that in the upcoming days, upcoming months, upcoming years, the school will continue to adapt to serving the needs of students in Chicago public schools and serving the kids that are in front of us each and every day. So I'm really proud of the work that we do.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Payton supports me. I met my bestest friends here. We love 34.
The reason why I love Payton.
My favorite thing at Payton.
My favorite thing at Payton.
I love Payton because
I love Payton because
My favorite thing about Payton.
My favorite thing at Payton.
One thing that I really like about Payton is the diversity.
It's an incredibly diverse school.
it's just like so many different vibrant personalities.
We have students here from all over different parts of the city. My favorite thing about Payton would probably be how interesting everyone is.
I love a sense of community and I feel really supported here.
Everyone is so friendly to each other and everyone helps each other when you need it.
I love the fact that the students are more collaborative than competitive.
Everyone is like working together to like learn together.
I feel like I'm just surrounded by a group of my POs that accepts me and who's nice to me.
Everybody's just nice, and it's really great.
The building is beautiful, so it's really nice to come to every morning.
One thing I really like is this view. In biology class, we have binoculars, so I like coming up here and looking for certain birds. I've seen a lot of different birds and stuff like that.
I really like the academics. I'm learning a lot.
My favorite class has been AP US History.
My favorite class is Computer Science.
Physics.
AP Capstone.
I also really like AP Microeconomics.
I really like AP Bio this year. My teacher is really fun and engaging. My favorite thing about Payton is my connections with my teachers and how much they care.
The teachers are always available.
I love the support that I get.
I really appreciate them taking the time to be there for us when we need it.
I love the sports here.
Principal Divine, he's really friendly. If you see him in the hallway, he's always smiling.
The staff is really great.
I love that there's block scheduling because it gives me a lot more free time.
I love all of the different environments in which we can learn. enrichments, seminars, clubs.
It just gives you so many choices.
You have the opportunity to do anything you're interested in.
My favorite thing at Payton is the freedom.
The ability for us to express ourselves.
It lets you explore stuff that you probably wouldn't have in a different school.
And I love with all the different opportunities to get involved.
It's just an amazing environment to be in.
I really enjoy coming to school every single day.
In 2007, game 163 is taking place between the Colorado Rockies and the San Diego Padres. It's in the bottom of the 13th inning, a tie score at 8-8. The winner of this game gets a date with the Philadelphia Phillies in the National League Division Series. This is obviously a must-watch TV baseball game. I mean, who doesn't want to watch a one-game playoff that goes into extra innings? However, to fully appreciate what happens next, we have to know the history of both franchises. We have to understand that neither of these ball clubs have won a World Series. Even crazier, one of these teams hasn't even won a postseason series. To get a better grasp of this moment, we need to use a time machine. In other words, we need to rewind. The Rockies have Matt Holliday on third base and less than 2 outs. This is crucial because any fly ball to the outfield can theoretically send the Rockies to the National League Division Series on sacrifice fly. However, the mere fact that the Rockies are hosting this one-game playoff is crazy to think about. Back on September 15th, the Rockies were just 76-72. Yeah, you heard me right. Just 16 days ago, the Rockies were barely above 500. So how the heck are the Rockies even tied with the Padres for the National League wildcard spot? As Al Davis would say, just win, baby! Just win, baby. Yeah, the Rockies have sure won a lot of games lately. An unfathomable 10-game winning streak from September 16th until September 27th saw the Rockies go from 4.5 games back of the Padres to just 1. In a twist of fate, the Rockies swept the Padres during that winning streak to get back into the NL wildcard race. But hey, that was just a lucky winning streak, right? There's no way this ball club led by Clint Hurdle could win 2 out of 3 against the first-place Arizona Diamondbacks and sneak into the playoffs, correct? And if you answered anything but yes to those questions, you'd be dead wrong. Arizona ended Colorado's winning streak during Game 1 of the crucial 3-game set, but after dominating the Diamondbacks 11-1 on September 29th, the Rockies held on for a 4-3 win on the last day of the regular season. Nail-biting wins have been nothing new to the Rockies and their fan base. One of their wins during the 12-1 finish to the regular season included a 14-inning victory over the Padres. But have the Rockies simply taken the wild card away from the Padres, or did San Diego majestically crumble down the stretch? Well, it's a little bit of both. Entering MLB game action on September 16th, the Padres were 80-67. They ended up finishing the year at 89-73. So a 9-6 record in their last 15 games is nothing to be embarrassed about from your ball players. But a 3-game sweep at the hands of the Rockies was still pretty bad, especially considering that all 3 games were at Petco Park. Also, the Padres had the Brewers down to their last strike on September 29th, but Tony Gwynn Jr. knocked a game-tying triple off Trevor Hoffman to send the game into extra innings. How brutal irony is that? The son of the greatest Padre ever quite possibly stopped you from going to the playoffs. What gets lost in the shuffle is that the Rockies were actually a third-place team in the wildcard race prior to their incredible finish. The Dodgers were up 3 games on the Rockies after all the games concluded on September 15th. So what the heck happened to the Dodgers? It's hard to exactly say why they simply forgot to play baseball, but their final record speaks for itself. On September 15th, the Dodgers were 10 games over 500. By September 30th, the team barely finished with a winning record at 82-80. You can't make this stuff up. The Dodgers went from 79-69 and just 1.5 games back on San Diego for the wildcard spot to finishing 7 games back of both Colorado and San Diego. Colorado literally had to sweep Los Angeles to knock the Dodgers out of the playoffs, and the Rockies did just that from September 25th until September 27th. The Dodgers might be known for playoff choking nowadays, but late-season chokes are nothing new to the Dodger faithful. Anyway, back to the Padres and Rockies. The Rockies were 12-1 down the stretch, but a minor choke job by the name of Ron Burgundy allowed Colorado to host a 1-game playoff. The Padres were 2 games ahead of the Rockies on September 29th, meaning they just had to win either of their next 2 games against the Milwaukee Brewers or 1 Rockies loss the next 2 days clinched a wild card spot for Bud Black's team. The 2007 Milwaukee Brewers were actually in first place of the NL Central Division during most of the regular season, but a late surge by the Cubs, as well as a collapse, saw the Brewers outside of the playoffs for yet another year. They still played spoilers, though, and after dispatching the Padres in 11 innings on September 29th, the Brew Crew disallowed September 30th from being the Padres' clinch day. A very convincing 11-6 win for Milwaukee as the Padres had to fly from Milwaukee to Denver for a National League West grudge match. Just like that, Game 163 determined who would win the National League wild card. This was huge for Rockies fans as their favorite baseball team hadn't sniffed the postseason since 1995. Colorado began as an expansion franchise in 1993, and the Rockies earned the first ever NL wildcard spot in 1995. The Rockies fought hard in the division series against the Atlanta Braves, but the eventual World Series champion Braves took care of the Blake Street Bombers 3-1. But since then, the Rockies have always found ways to lose games. More importantly, it's their pitching staff who seemingly always lets them down. Even when the Rockies won the wild card in 1995, you probably don't know any of their starting pitchers. Kevin Ritz, Bill Swift, and Marvin Freeman were arguably their three best pitchers that season. Colorado was so desperate for starting pitching help that they signed Mike Hampton to an unreal 8-year, $121 million contract after the 2000 season concluded. All of the money in Major League Baseball is guaranteed, by the way, so why would the Rockies sign a pitcher to an 8-year deal? Simply put, it's hard to find free agent pitchers who want to pitch in Coors Field, the home ballpark of the Rockies where the ball hits the mile-high wind and sails out of play. If you don't remember Mike Hampton playing for the Rockies, you're not the only one. He only lasted 2 years in Denver, with his last season being a dreadful 6.14 ERA and opponents batted .313 against him. So for the Rockies to be successful, they usually need to outslug teams. But that wasn't exactly the case in 2007. Jeff Francis won 17 games for the Rockies this season. Ubaldo Jimenez was on this team, and the relatively unknown Aaron Cook posted an ERA under 4.2. In a nutshell, this surprising Rockies team can play a little small ball and outpitch teams as well. But tonight has been anything but a pitcher's duel. In a typical Coors Field shootout, the Rockies blew an early 3-0 lead. The San Diego Padres swiftly answered with 5 runs in the top of the third, and it looked like the Padres finally hit their stride in this do-or-die playoff game. And while the Rockies are unknown for playoff success, the history of the San Diego Fathers isn't a happy story either. The Padres have been to the World Series twice, but they've only been to the postseason a grand total of 5 times coming into tonight. Since joining Major League Baseball in 1969, the Padres have mostly been an afterthought in the National League West. Coming into the 2007 MLB season, Bruce Bochy had enough with postseason disappointments, and he left for greener pastures in San Francisco. Some Padres fans felt it was treason as Bochy led the team to division titles in 2005 and 2006. While they were back-to-back NL West crowns, the 2005 team barely finished with a winning record, and after being swept by the Cardinals in the NLDS, Bruce Bochy's team finished the year under 500 at 82-83. The 2006 squad was much better, but those pesky Cardinals were still too much for San Diego to handle. San Diego had a home field advantage for the division series, but Bochy's crew only scored a single run in their first 2 postseason games. The offense was slightly awake when they entered Busch Stadium. A 3-1 win in Game 3 gave San Diego fans new hope, but it was quickly taken away during Game 4. 6 unanswered runs by St. Louis gave the Cardinals the series win and yet another postseason disappointment in Southern California. Bud Black took the 2007 job after Bochy left for the hated Giants. Led by NL Cy Young winner Jake Peavy, the Padres were in first place in the NL West as late as September 3rd. Peavy got the nod for this one-game playoff. It was his turn in the rotation since he hadn't pitched since September 26th. But for whatever reason, the best pitcher in the National League was anything but clutch tonight. 3 straight Rockies got on base to start off the bottom of the first, and after Yorvit Torrealba cranked a bomb to left field, the Rockies led 3-0 after 2 innings of baseball. Starting pitcher Josh Fogg was sent out in the top of the third to preserve the lead, but he simply wasn't up for the task. Peavy helped out his own cause with a leadoff single. Brian Giles found his way to first base with a walk, and after Scott Hairston hit a single to load the bases, Adrian Gonzalez emptied them with a game-changing grand slam. Fogg still couldn't settle down after the grand salami. Khalil Green and Josh Bard both got on base via the hit, forcing Fogg to intentionally walk Jeff Blum to load the bases. Brady Clark then made a solid contact with a ground ball to shortstop, and his speed forced the Rockies to just get the force out at second base. Just like that, it's now a 5-3 lead for Peavy and the Padres.
Matsui didn't get anything on this throw. Blum was all over him. He was a little off balance after he came across the bag to make the throw.
But Peavy just couldn't keep the ball out of the ballpark. The Rockies cut the deficit down to 1 after Todd Helton belted the baseball to right center field and gave his home fans a lucky souvenir. An amazing game so far. It's not even the top of the fourth yet, and we've already seen 3 home runs, including a grand slam. Fogg was able to get a 1-2-3 inning in the 4th inning, but Hurdle wasn't pleased with his pitcher. He gave up 10 fly balls on a night when the wind was clearly blowing out, so he decided to go to his bullpen early. Peavy wasn't much better than Fogg tonight as the Rockies tied up the score in the bottom of the 5th. An early holiday for Rockies fans as Matt Holliday singled in Tulowitzki for a 5-5 tie. Black was still confident in his young fireballer though, so he sent Peavy on the bump for the 6th inning. It was the same old story for Peavy as the Rockies retook the lead. Everybody was seemingly able to hit him tonight. Seth Smith hit the very rare pinch hit triple with 1 out. It was timely hitting all night for Colorado as Kaz Matsui got underneath the ball and delivered a sacrifice fly to center field. Another lead for the Rockies, and this time around the relief pitchers were up for the task. After relieving Fogg, the Rockies bullpen held the Padres scoreless until the top of the 8th. The Padres were able to muster just 2 hits from the 5th inning going into the 8th. Taylor Buchholz led the Rockies bullpen by going 1 2/3 innings, allowing just 1 hit and threw 12 strikes on 13 pitches. But Brian Fuentes just couldn't hold the lead. After relieving Deltroy Hawkins with 6 outs to go, Fuentes was a tad bit wild and inaccurate. Blum got the much-needed leadoff single, and although Fuentes got the next 2 batters out, Torrealba couldn't quite handle this 1-2 slider from Fuentes, allowing Blum to reach second base on the dropped 3rd strike wild pitch. On the 3rd pitch of the subsequent at-bat, Giles potentially saved his team's season with a game-tying double to left field.
A high pitch that Giles was just trying to fight off, and he did. Got pretty good wood on it, and maybe that's what fooled Holliday as it sailed over his head.
But Hairston couldn't send Giles home after that. Granted, Tulowitzki's dart from shortstop, Helton's great stretch at first base was excellent defense. Neither team could score again in regulation, so we went to extra innings. The next 3 innings were full of drama as both teams had chances to score. San Diego had runners on 1st and 2nd with 2 outs in the top of the 10th, but Matt Hergus jammed Giles and got the inning-ending ground out. Colorado had a golden opportunity for a walk-off win in the bottom of the 11th. With Brad Hopp at the plate, Colorado had the game-winning run 180 feet from home. But Joe Thatcher fooled Hopp on an 88-mile-per-hour fastball to end the threat. The Padres had their own runner in scoring position with less than 2 outs in the top of the 12th, but Brian Myro struck out, and Michael Barrett grounded out to keep the score at 6-6. The Rockies went 1-2-3 in the 12th game as the game entered inning number 13. And this was quite possibly the greatest extra inning in professional baseball history. 5 total runs would eventually be scored in this inning. With everything on the line, the offenses for both teams woke up in a huge way. San Diego struck first in the top half. Giles quite possibly had the game of his life by reaching base yet again. This time it was via the leadoff walk. Hairston, who was looking to make up for his anti-RBI single in the 8th inning, came up big with a giant 2-run homer to give the Padres the lead back, their first one since it was 5-4. Julio then gave up a single to Chase Headley, so Clint Hurdle had to call on Ramon Ortiz to limit the damage. Ortiz kept the score at 8-6 with 2 flyouts and a strikeout, but the Padres were now just 3 outs away from their 3rd straight trip to the NLDS. In came Trevor Hoffman for the save. It's hard to believe that Black never used Hoffman prior to the 13th inning, but credit Black for thinking his team would have the lead in extra innings. A future Hall of Famer, Hoffman was on the last Padres World Series team back in 1998. He finished in 2nd place for Cy Young voting on 2 different occasions. His last 2nd place Cy Young finish was just last season, where he saved 46 games for the division-winning Padres. He's been very good in 2007, although his ERA has climbed a bit since last year. Still, he entered tonight with an ERA well under 3 and a 2-run cushion. Even though the Padres are on the road in a very tough environment, there's no way that Hoffman could blow this. And yet the average baseball fan was wrong again. Everything that could go right has gone right for the Rockies since the middle of September. So with that logic in mind, the hitting sticks were available to everyone in the bottom of the 13th. Back-to-back doubles by Matsui and Tulowitzki put the tying run on second base with nobody out. And if you could believe it, another triple by the Rockies, this time by MVP runner-up Matt Holliday, put the Rockies in a great spot. For a team who was seemingly going to be fishing just 2 weeks ago, the Rockies are 90 feet away from heading to Philadelphia for the division series. With less than 2 outs, Black told Hoffman to intentionally walk Rockies legend Todd Helton. Not a bad decision, obviously, since Jamie Carroll was due up next and not Garrett Atkins. Even though Hoffman is facing the middle of the order, manager Clint Hurdle decided to have Carroll pinch run for Atkins in the bottom of the 7th. There was 1 out with Atkins at second base. While the Rockies were up by 1 at the time and needed some insurance runs, deciding to pinch run for your 5-hole hitter is always risky. The Rockies, of course, didn't score that inning and now needed the little-known Carroll to drive the ball into the outfield for a walk-off win. Carroll wasn't exactly a threat at the plate. In fact, he was a borderline disaster when it came to offense. After batting .300 during the 2006 regular season, he was a major disappointment this season by hitting just .222 in 107 games coming into tonight. But tonight was a different story. His two-out single preserved the 11th inning rally before Hop inevitably went down on strikes. So as of now, Hurdle's decision to put Carroll in the lineup as a substitute is starting to look okay. And with nobody out, all Carroll needs is a fly ball. But is Holliday the right guy to score the winning run on a potential sacrifice fly? Haha, absolutely not. He only stole 11 bases during the year and was caught on 4 of those attempts. However, his base running IQ was off the charts during his prime, as he stole 28 bases on 30 attempts in 2008. Well, here we go. It's the first pitch of the at-bat. Can Hoffman jam the non-explosive Carroll into a ground ball with the infield now in? Will Holliday run on contact? If the ball is hit into the outfield, can the Padres outfielders throw out Holliday and keep their team alive? Welcome to a moment in history.
To right field. Giles is there to make the catch. Tagging is Holliday. The throw to the plate. He is safe. The Colorado Rockies are the National League Wild Card winners.
Hold on a second. Did Holliday actually touch home plate? Let's look at that again. I'll be darned. I don't think he touched the plate. Michael Barrett tagged him, but the home plate umpire determined that Holliday touched home base. This was years before instant replay challenges, by the way, so the Padres had to live with home plate umpire Todd McClellan's safe call. Murphy's Law to the fullest. Whatever can go right for the Rockies has gone right. Rocktober began in the grandest of ways as Holliday's walk-off sacrifice fly run paved the way to 7 straight victories and an eventual trip to the World Series. Since then, the Padres have only been to the playoffs once. The Rockies have played in 2 more wildcard games since 2007, which concludes an extra-inning win over the Cubs at Wrigley Field.
And the Rockies have won 14 of their last 15 games to get to the postseason. Little extra effort to get it done tonight.
Hey, this is Sarah Greenfalk, owner of PsychEdge. How would you like to learn how to manage your emotions and reactions in order to enhance your performance and be successful in life? I coach and counsel student athletes, performers, and professionals, giving them the mental skills and mindsets to build confidence and resilience. My background in physical therapy, massage therapy, personal training, and 15 years of counseling give my clients an advantage. So if you are wanting to be recruited, perform better, or struggling with life balance, anxiety, or depression symptoms, I will stand by you until we reach your goals. Contact me today, sarah@aimtogrow.com, and be sure to visit my website, psychedge.club, for your monthly blog on mental health, sport, and performance psychology tips.
Well, first and foremost, I would describe the typical Northside student as teenagers. Whether they're at Northside or any other place, teenagers are teenagers. Northside students specifically, I would.
Hi, I'm Patty Stuber, principal here at Northside College Prep. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about Northside and what makes us such a unique community. Here at Northside, the school opened about 20 years ago, and I think that something that's really important is when the school started, it was really focused on taking a road less traveled, focusing on excellence, innovation, and creativity. These values really speak to who we are and what we are as a community of learners and innovators and critical thinkers. We definitely have teachers that strive for excellence. They create lessons that are exciting, instill creativity and critical thinking, and really focus on students working with each other and becoming peer helpers in a way.
Northside is much more than what you see on surface level. It's so full of various cultures and identities, and it cultivates an environment where we feel comfortable to display our true selves. We have clubs for every interest, including robotics, key club, student council, musical, and many more. On top of this, Northside has a wide variety of culture clubs that participate in International Day, where clubs from all different cultures perform dances. We also have a large range of sports you can play at Northside, including soccer, basketball, lacrosse, and more.
Hi, my name is John Lynch, and I'm a parent here at Northside Prep. My son Joe had his heart set on Northside from early on. He knew what needed to be done and made it happen, and now he's a junior here, and he's loving it. He runs cross country and track. He's involved with band and Latin and other activities, and he's just having a great time despite everything that's been different over the last couple of years. As for me, I am a parent representative on the local school council, and this year I have the privilege of serving as the LSC chairperson.
My love for the school was solidified when I went on a tour of the school and I got to see the captivating backyard, the auditorium full of performance potential, and the tall ceilings of the sunlit atriums. I noticed the artwork plastered all over the school, and I got excited for the endless possibilities I would have here. Northside has adapted to the challenges we have faced throughout the pandemic. When we initially switched over to virtual learning in March of 2020, it didn't take long for administration and teachers to adapt to virtual platforms for our learning to reach our full potential. Even during the complex switch to hybrid and in-person learning, our administration was able to form a structure for students to follow that keep us safe, healthy, and learning. Students who have graduated from Northside all thank the school for preparing them for the future. Our rigorous courses and block schedule make for the best preparation for college and the world ahead of us.
Northside has been great for me, and it's been great for my son. More importantly, he's had a great time. The community's been active and engaged and adaptable. The faculty, the staff, the athletics department, the parent groups, everybody's been fantastic, and I think you'll have a great experience at Northside.
Outside of the classrooms, we have numerous clubs and activities. I think we're one of the schools that have over 100 clubs, including sports. And most of those are student-driven, student-inspired, student-led. If I could take a moment to talk about our students, they are amazing, really smart, really civic-minded, wanting to go out and making the world a better place. With all of that, I think one thing that makes Northside truly amazing and truly unique is that we are a place where you could really be yourselves. When you walk the halls of Northside, you can see that everyone feels free to express themselves however they want to. They are able to vocalize who they are and who they want to be. And I think that's really what makes us the most unique school. After all, in order to be a strong community, it all is dependent on the people that make it up.
Sports Broadcast Solutions is a broadcasting network for everyone. At SBS, we offer a professional broadcasting experience for the non-professional athlete. Just like the pros, we offer everything for you. Play-by-play commentary. A no-hitter at Kane County Stadium. 15 strikeouts, 1 walk, 1 error, and that's it. Color commentary, highlight reels, recruiting videos, and much, much more. Unlike our competitors, we zoom in on the action and always have a live scoreboard with a live time code. If you're ready to have your next sporting event feel like CBS Sports, then make sure to call Sports Broadcast Solutions today. Our phone number is 330-957-7653, or you can go online to sportsbroadcastsolutions.com. SBS, a broadcasting network for everyone.
One of the things that makes Northside really special are the people. We have an amazing student body. We have amazing faculty and staff. Our students and faculty and staff come from all over the city, so we have this wonderfully diverse population of people who come together in the spirit of community and learning on a regular basis. I would also say the opportunities that our students have and our faculty and staff have also make Northside special. So being able to learn and engage with and work with people from all over the city, whether those are adults or teenagers, each and every day, and having those diverse experiences come into the same space, whether that's diversity in terms of race or ethnicity or neighborhood or cultural experiences, all of that coming together in this one space, I think, is what makes Northside very special. First and foremost, I would describe the typical Northside student as teenagers. Whether they're at Northside or any other place, teenagers are teenagers. Northside students specifically, I would say that you have everything from your students who are really into athletics to students who are quirky and into dance or into special clubs. So there's a wide variety of interests. Again, going back to that diversity, there are so many different types of students, but I think one of the great things about Northside students is you'll see that mix, that kind of cross-collaboration of interests, whether it's academics, so your math student might also be the dance student who speaks 2 different languages or 3 different languages. So there's this wonderful, wonderful range with our students. I think I would be remiss if I didn't point out that our students are incredibly kind and supportive to each other. So we see that on a daily basis, even in the way that they've been supporting each other the last 7 months and the way that they're continuing to support each other right now. I would describe the Northside teachers and staff as super dedicated. They are experts in their fields. They're experts who are dedicated to learning and growing with teenagers. Not only that, they're dedicated to continuing to learn and grow in their practice. So our faculty and staff are incredibly supportive of our students. They're incredibly supportive of each other. And I feel like I am lucky to be able to work with such a dedicated faculty and staff on a regular basis. It's very much in our name that we're a college preparatory high school. So our goal is to prepare students for post-secondary success, but we also recognize that our students take very different pathways. So we feel, even though we're preparing our students to go off to college and explore everything that has to offer, and we believe that they're well prepared for that, there are other options available, and we encourage students to pursue those pathways as well. Just as there are various pathways in the 4 years that students are here that they can take, we recognize that students are going to take different pathways when they leave here. So whether it's going the traditional college pathway or going into service or some kind of service to the community, we feel that students are well prepared based on their education and their experiences here. Last year, we didn't get a chance to celebrate our 20th anniversary, but this school has been in existence for 20 years. And I was lucky enough to be a faculty member when the school opened in 1999 and then come back as the principal of Northside. And the way in which the school has stayed true to the founding principles, and we've learned and we have grown with our students and how our student population has changed over the years. I'm very, very proud of that, and I know that in the upcoming days, upcoming months, upcoming years, this school will continue to adapt to serving the needs of students in Chicago public schools and serving the kids that are in front of us each and every day. So I'm really proud of the work that we do.
This is Sports Broadcast Solutions, a broadcasting network for everyone. Check us out at sportsbroadcastsolutions.com and become part of the digital sporting world.
Missing your child's sporting event just plain stinks. But you don't have to worry about that anymore, thanks to Sports Broadcast Solutions. SBS is a live broadcasting network, as well as covering your on-demand needs, recruiting videos, highlight reels, and much, much more. We can broadcast live to any website, and we also post as much on-demand content as you need. For more information about SBS, check out our website at sportsbroadcastsolutions.com. Sports Broadcast Solutions, a broadcasting network for everyone.
Welcome to the pregame show brought to you by Sports Broadcast Solutions. My name is Kyle Smith. Well, my name doesn't matter. This young lady matters. Anna Mulderink, the best defender on the Mustangs as they look to bring the Principal's Cup back home to Northside. Anna, you had some big-time steals in that game against Jones College Prep. You couldn't get the W. There's been some struggles shooting the ball. What's going on lately with NCP?
I think it's really hard for us to connect lately. We've had some issues with shooting, but other than that, we've been trying to work it in more, so getting those shorter shots are really helpful for us.
Start of the year 7-0, 5-5 your last 10. There's been some good, there's been some bad. How are we going to see more of Dr. Jekyll and less of Mr. Hyde down the stretch here for NCP?
I think really today we're pushing it a lot because we really want to get this cup back. Starting off the season, we came in really hot and played some easier teams, I'd say. So going back to conference, having a little bit more challenges was difficult, but I think we're really going to pull it together tonight.
For people that are watching this broadcast that live in the suburbs or out of state, how tough is it to play in the Chicago Public League, especially commuting during bumper-to-bumper traffic?
It's really hard. Like the other day at Westinghouse, we were there for like 3 or 4 hours before we played, so that can be really difficult. But other than that, Chicago has really good basketball teams, so being in this program, it's really nice to see us winning.
Kate Singler's your leading scorer. They're obviously going to double her or get really quick on the rotations. What's it going to take for the role players to help out with a win tonight?
I think just moving the ball around, working it into other players is really going to help because we do have other shooters like Olivia, and we're going to work it into Tessa in the paint too. So I think just moving the ball around.
Final thoughts about today's game and what the Principal's Cup means to you?
Obviously it means a lot. We're in a home gym. We got some fans out here supporting us, so I think we're just going to give it our all.
All right, on 3, go Mustangs. 1, 2, 3.
Go Mustangs.
We're going to take a break. You're watching the pregame show brought to you by Sports Broadcast Solutions.
Thank you.
Sports Broadcast Solutions is a broadcasting network for everyone. We broadcast sporting events for people of all ages, including adult leagues, high school leagues, and kids. Complete with professional-looking graphics, broadcasters, color analysis, and commercials. We do pre- and post-game interviews with the players. In addition, Sports Broadcast Solutions does highlight films, including college recruiting reels, highlight films you'd see on sports news programs, and just simply highlight films for fun. Sports Broadcast Solutions also provides raw footage and live streams if you'd like. Subscribe to us and listen to our professional talk videos about relevant topics in the pro and college ranks. Whatever your sports broadcast needs, contact us at sportsbroadcastsolutions.com and become part of the digital world. You probably know the underdog story of Kurt Warner. The future leader of the greatest show on turf was a former grocery store bagger who played his college ball at the University of Northern Iowa. He finished his career in 1993. He went undrafted, and he had to continue his career by slinging the pigskin in the Arena Football League in NFL Europe. He was